So as you can see, I'm on the Superior Hiking Trail. I had a window of opportunity between a high school class reunion dinner yesterday and climbing on an airplane to go to London in a couple of days to come on up here and take a little stroll. So I'm going to cover some ground I've covered before, put in at Route 1, go over the Baptism River up to Mount Trudy, probably put in at the Palisades Creek campsite, and then I'll give you a sneak preview of the latest Grizz Bridge called the Grizz Bridge Ariel. So stay tuned. Oh yeah, I'm remembering the drain pipe. Last time I was at Mount Trudy, I was with my sons, Mr. Green and Frankie. We sang a little ditty, Missing Shug.
One, two, three. We climbed Mount Trudy, our heartstrings were a tug. We climbed Mount Trudy, we climbed it missing Shug.
I'm not going to sing that ditty again without the backing chorus, but I will have a tip of the hat to Shug for introducing the Superior Hiking Trail to us all through the videos. And hope, Shug, the next time our schedules mesh better so you can be up here with me. A lot of the trail looks like this. Wetness, hopping from rock to rock, makes for slow going. So I've pulled into the East Palisades Creek campsite. I think I'll put in here for the night. I expect I'll be alone, not many people on the trail, besides which if they're carrying tents, this is not a good place to be. There's a lot of water around here. Not so much a problem if you're hammocking, but it would be a challenge if you're tenting. The thing to notice about the Ariel is that the body is one piece from this side of the spreader bar to that side of the spreader bar. What I'd done before was to cut the body and then to fit the piece that's beyond it. And another thing that made the topology there complicated was when I folded things. I made a channel and I folded it in. When you do any kind of folding at this side, then things get complicated. And so there's a different approach that allows us to have this solid piece. This channel is like bias tape. I took a 7-inch wide strip of the same hammock fabric, folded it over into thirds, and so then I had a strip that was 2 1/3 quarters, and then folded that in half again, and that's like the bias tape, and the cord fits at the top. The main thing that allows is to have that channel go all the way up around the corner and then up to the top, so there is no folding that happens at this corner. By overlapping and splicing the cord that's alongside of the body and the cord that's in the suspension triangle, create a gap here where a 10-pole nub or a hiking pole tip can go in. To let that out of the channel, cut a hole after putting on top a bit of grosgrain to make it solid, and then just let that pop up. Have a little loop here to attach a quilt, and also serves to help pull that thing out. So this passage is just the right size to admit an ordinary sewing bobbin, whose hole is the right size to admit the tip from one of Warbonnet Guy's hiking pole attachments. I want to give a shout out to Paul Gibson, who talked about using these Mountainsmith Trekker FX poles on his bridge hammocks. The nice thing about it is that there's a locking mechanism that essentially removes the need to have dowel inserts to keep things blocked. So that's great. Thanks a lot, Paul. And then I also want to give a shout out to Warbonnet Guy, who sells these tips that you can put on said hiking poles, and one goes on the tip end and the other screws on to the camera mount. And these nubs on it make it just like the nubs that you have on tent poles, and they're just great. Cost 20 bucks, but well worth it for me. So as you can see, the bug net is one of these half bug nets things. The things that are draping over the side there, actually one tucks beneath one's quilt, and so one has coverage on the inside, and then you are protected from the bugs by your quilt on the outside. So the bug net is sewn on one side, and there's Velcro attachment on this side. And I used the full inch width of the Velcro. On another version of it, I'm not convinced that I would use a full width all of the way. I think that I could probably do with halfway down. And one, of course, needs to be careful with using Velcro around bug netting. But if the thing is sealed up when you pack it, then it should be okay. As before, where I attach either a zipper or some kind of fastener to the edge of the hammock, I have something to take a bit of the the stress off of it. And another strip of cloth here, a strip of fabric, and the Velcro is attached to that. So I get inside, and then I Velcro it up, and then I tuck it in, and I'm good to go. We'll start with, there's a cord lock on the inside that allows this to drop. There's some flex in getting inside. I'll sort of push that off to the side. Put myself in. Now, you should be able to see that this Velcro edge right here that's on that extra fabric strip is standing up at attention because of the tension on the suspension curve, which makes it pretty easy to fasten down. It's quite taut, so it's just a matter of piecing in the rest of it. So, you can tuck in these on the quilt. I have a hook here next to that cord lock, and the hook is good for hooking on the ditty bag. So this is my internal storage. It sort of hangs there up out of the way, and then I can drop off and get a good night's sleep bug-free. Had a good night last night. Temps just got down into the low 50s, so this underquilt was probably overkill, but was not uncomfortable, wasn't too warm. The inside hook on the cord that I used to pull the bug net up away from me turned out to be just perfect for the headlamp. The ditty bag that I had on there turned out to be a little large, but I have an interior bag that I get from my pack that I unclipped, and that's where I can put my glasses and important things like so. I needed also to point out that since the spreader bars on the inside of the bug net needs a way through the bug net, so put some grosgrain, burned a hole through there, and so the tip goes through there. The hammock body is 1.6 Hyper D that I get from Ripstep by the Roll. The whole package, suspension and hammock, excluding the tree huggers, is about 14 ounces. Wasn't trying all that hard to save weight. There'd be some places where I might, for example, using less of the Velcro. So with that, I think that I will pack up and head on back and enjoy the day on the trail, albeit a soggy day on the trail, but the sun is shining, the birds are singing, and breakfast awaits. Hiking solo gives one time to think about things. I thought of some things I wanted to include in the video. One is that the bug net that I showed last night is a bit of a hack. I did it quickly. I knew I was coming up to bug country this weekend and I needed coverage. I've got some ideas about using no-see-em, possibly enclose the whole thing, probably use some zippers. We'll just have to see. The second, I haven't mentioned the choice of name Ariel. I'm thinking about the name for a lightweight hammock. I thought of cloud names, except those are taken. I thought of lightweight gases, except those are taken. Ariel is the name of a character in Shakespeare's play The Tempest, who's a spirit, and I thought what better to suggest lightweightness than that of a spirit. Then if the hammock turned out badly, I could call it the Caliban, or I could go to the dual mode bridge hammock and call that the Ganymede, or if I made an old black model, I could call that the Othello. So I think going with Shakespeare character names opens up a rich set of possibilities. And finally, this summer I'm going to make a video on the engineering of the Ariel, how to design it so that you minimize the fabric loss, how to design the cuts so that you can have the one body past the spreader bars as I've shown and have it have the right depth, even though you've got changes happening in 2 dimensions with the suspension cord coming in and also going up. And so stay tuned for that. Those of you who like DIY details, that's forthcoming.